Hello, my name is Claudia Tornquist. I'm the president and CEO of Kodiak Copper. I'm here with Chris Taylor, the founder and chairman of Kodiak Copper. Kodiak is a copper exploration company. We're focused on our MPD project in southern British Columbia. We are in an existing mining region with MPD between two big copper mines with all the infrastructure there. Have been systematically exploring MPD over several years now, and just now announced that we are working on a mineral resource estimate, which will be an exciting new phase for the company.
Well, I'm Chris Taylor. I'm the chairman and a founder of Kodiak Copper. Probably better known at this point for Great Bear Resources, which we sold to Kinross a few years ago for $1.8 billion. Kodiak has been a child of mine now for several years. I was one of the guys that ended up finding the MPD project. It's located in a belt of copper producing mines similar to the Mount Poly mine that I used to work for Imperial Metals. So it's an area that was greatly underexplored, but has the potential to hold significant copper resources.
Guys, good to see you, and Happy New Year. We can just about say that, I think. Right, can I some of today's news, or yesterday's news, I should say, which is right. You've announced that you've commenced work on a 43101. Why the feel the need to announce that, and what's the significance of it? More importantly,
well, we've drilled now for 6 years and have discovered in total 10 mineralized zones and drilled 10 mineralized zones. So shown there's a lot of mineralization on the property. And now we will pull it all together into a mineral resource estimate, which will encompass multiple of those zones. And it's, as I said, an exciting new stage in our work, because really that's where we'll end up putting some numbers on all we have found, because for our investors it's very hard to see what is it actually. We've now had drill results, multiple zones across the property, but what is it actually all when you put it together? It's very hard to see, and that's really what the mineral resource estimate will then show to our shareholders and to the market.
Right, but a typical sort of Canadian approach to this, which is we're going to drill to the edge of the envelope, because I think you announced along with this that you will continue ongoing exploration. So it's not big enough yet for you, and is that right? Or what does this look like in 2025?
I'd say, Matthew, it's not that the project is not big enough. I think that's one of the points of putting out the mineral resource estimates, is to show the size. So what we've seen so far is quite a significant mineralized system and multiple zones. My guess is there's going to be about 7 zones that end up with resource calculations issued on them. But that's not even the end of the story. But we do need to show that progress. And really the comparison, I think, from a shareholder perspective, is the relative value of companies that have resources in the market. And we were talking about this a little while ago. If you think about Kodiak's market capitalization right now, it's about $30 million Canadian. But companies that have projects that are comparable to what we're going to come up with, those market values are a lot higher. So that shows that value prospect for shareholders.
What example of that being what?
The comparative companies we look at are other porphyry explorers in either Canada or Arizona, North America, and there are a few of those around who have successful projects. North Isle, I think, is a company that's further advanced than we are, has a resource already and advancing quite successfully. Faraday is another. They explore in Arizona, have Lundin as a big shareholder, have also a resource which encompasses multiple zones. And so all those are companies that are already at a stage where we are now getting this year, and they have market caps of over 100 million. And so I think for us there is a good prospect that we'll really see some appreciation, and that this will be a good year for our shareholders.
But there's a lot of factors which contribute towards driving that share price. Is this going to be enough in itself. We're going to put a 43-101 on this thing. That's just the beginning, and it's a kind of very loose document for sure. What do you do to kind of support this? There's a great first move start to 2025. What else needs to come in 2025 for the market to kind of get a sense of, look, I think we should give these guys credit and start valuing them more highly. So what are you going to do?
Well, I look at this as a bit of a foundation to build off of. So that'll give you an economic, not an economic assessment, but an idea of what the project economics could be based on those comparables. And then you build on it with the continuing exploration program as well. And I think that's what we could deliver to shareholders this year is a re-rating based on the amount of copper we see in the ground right now, and an appreciation for the fact that there are additional zones that we're going to be drilling, and there's significant extensions on the zones that we will have resource on initially. So that's really about building a solid foundation for the company to grow off of so that we can get to that market valuation with peers that have similar points of progress.
Right, and how do you show how this thing starts hanging together? Because you got multiple zones, right? You talk about 7, I think, in the press release. You're going to need to demonstrate how this hangs together. I mean, how big an area are we dealing with here?
Well, we have a large porphyry district with 2 porphyry clusters, one in the northern part of the property, one in the southern, and have drilled mineralized zones in both those areas. So I think what I envisage our resource to be is a resource that's comprised of multiple zones. And if you look around us, the mines nearby, Copper Mountain or New Afton, which are also porphyry mines, geologically quite similar to what we do, when they started out, the way they now look is several pits and several deposits. So that's and Chris can probably speak to that quite much better than I from a geological side. That's quite a typical sort of scenario, and so that's, I think, likely is what you'll see at MPD as well.
Right, and so when is the actual sort of detailed planning? When can you start telling us exactly how you're going to come out of this? I don't know, Chris, are you involved with that?
Yeah, this is we have groups that we're working with sort of in the background, so we can get an idea how it would hang together. I mean, I have some idea based on having worked in these type of alkalic porphyries in British Columbia before. So generally, if you have multiple porphyry centers, you put a production facility around the middle of the property, sort of close to the center of mass, and then you have transportation from the different porphyry copper pits into that central facility. So in our case, like what we've been looking at is there's about 10 kilometers maximum distance between the clusters that we have, and that's about where you want to be there and lesser. So we have zones that are 2 kilometers apart, 1 kilometer apart, less than 1 kilometer apart. So it looks like it would, from my point of view and the guys that we're looking at then discussing this with so far, it'll all fit together with the central facility. That's our expectation.
Right, and we've seen this year lots of different companies in different metals, different commodities, having to look to change their plans. They're not getting the reaction in the marketplace. I think you would be fair to say that you were in that group of people, a lot of people struggling to get attention from retail investors, and maybe having to think about, well, how do we attract money from elsewhere? A lot of JV type models coming along, strategics coming along. Do you think that you will have to, be a bit more creative this year with access to capital, because the cost of that capital is becoming quite prohibitive? It's not to say it's not there. It's just saying it's getting more and more expensive as the share price isn't reacting. And I'm saying this is a you thing. This is a market-wide thing. What do you think, Claudia?
Well, we have a strong set of supportive shareholders, Teck Resources being our largest shareholders. So we are, I think, in a good position to be able, and have always been able, to raise the funds to really move the project forward. Also, particularly in the last 2 years where the market was very weak and many of our peers really didn't make much progress on their projects. So I think fundamentally we are in a good position. Obviously, I'm not happy with where our share price is at the moment. It is very frustrating to see, to move the project forward, have positive results throughout, and it not getting appreciated by the market. But many of our peers, most of our peers, are in the same boat. And the one thing that's sure is a cyclical market. When there is a downturn, there will be an upturn again. And as I said before, we have this year is a really important year for Kodiak, with important milestones coming up, and really where we also will be able to make the scale and the size of the project visible through this resource. So I think there are catalysts coming that will be important to the market, and I'm confident that this will be a good year for our shareholders.
Okay, so let's say the things that you control are things you're not in control of, and I mentioned like how companies are behaving, strategy, in terms of reacting to market conditions. And copper's had a good run this week. It was at 440, so nearly touching 450. Again, we saw a little bit of that last year when it hit $5. But generally, the copper's a funny one. People totally get the thematic. We get the macro, but it just moves so slowly. It seems. I mean, how do you change your behavior or adapt your behavior in a market like this? Because like Chris, timing's everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, with us, Matthew, it's a really good point. And that's the reason that we announced that we're going to be getting resources out to the market. So we have had a pattern of ongoing discovery with the company. Every year that goes by, we drill more copper. We have more zones that we're looking at. It's a great process as the project continues to grow, but we need to do something different to capture the attention of the market. And quite frankly, if you're looking at getting a major involved in the project, like we have Teck involved as a major shareholder, our biggest shareholder right now. But if you're looking at increasing that level of interest, this is always a show me story with the market. And we want to show them what we have, and we want to show them the total scale of the system. And then there's more of that upside potential. And I always remember when I got involved in the business, a friend of mine who's quite clever with the markets always said to me, you're always one drill hole away with Porphyry copper systems from $100 million market cap. And he's absolutely correct. We saw it happen with us with the Gate Zone discovery. We have all these additional targets on the project that we continue to test while we're doing the resource work. And it's one of those things that makes our industry very interesting. I've lived through it many times, is we still have that discovery potential as well. We've done it in the past, and it may happen again in the future. And that's another thing, in addition to building that solid sort of fundamental resource base that could see significant upside for our shareholders.
So what are you saying? Don't stop drilling. We're one hole away.
We're always, that's our industry, Matthew. We're always one hole away. And we've been one hole away and had so many successes. And now we need to show that we have a solid base to build further from. And that's what we're going to do.
I guess, like, if I'm looking into the thing, I like the story. It makes a lot of sense. But I want to hear from you. There's a lot of copper in the ground. There's a lot of metal, valuable metal in the ground. And I guess this is the beginning of that step. Do you think you should have done it sooner?
It's a very fine balance. There are different strategies out there. There are companies who drill a little bit and put a small resource out right away. That is a strategy that we've not chosen, deliberately not. We've always said we believe that MPD has the potential to have real scale and has the potential to become a major mine, and that we will drill until we can come up with a resource that really also demonstrates that. In many ways, very similar strategy to Great Bear. Great Bear never got around to doing a resource, but really to drill to really show what we have rather than drill a little bit and put a little resource out.
I was going to use sarcasm here, but it never works with the North American market. So as Chris, that strategy never works, does it?
No, it's impossible.
Yeah. Impossible. No one's done it before. Yeah, okay. Folks, we know it's been done before. Okay. Well, look, I think it's time to, say to you, look, show me, don't tell me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come back with, and what the numbers look like. And I guess the important part of this is, for me, is you're not going to stop drilling. There's more to be had. So you better get after it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's great to talk again. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Matt.